Good evening and welcome to the Poets Cafe. Excuse me, it is where artist comes alive. The spoken word brings forth the inner creations of hidden treasures, expressing tones of lyrics felt within the soul, a vibration that rings stories untold. This platform represents artists of all backgrounds, be it writers, singers, spoken words, artistic expressions in painting, literature, poetry, and a journey through life. Mystery seeks to bring new ideas and opportunities through the mind at all levels. Wherefore my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the skies, and dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina, gazing across the stage in a soft-toed ballerina shoe. Welcome to the Artist Poetry Cafe show, Poetically Speaking, hosted by Terry Benjamin and Ron C. McCrae. As delighted as we are, we can't wait to engulf a new wave of presenting this platform to our audience. So, sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let's get started. Let's get started. As my brother Terry Benjamin will say, my co-host. Unfortunately, he's not here this evening, and I hope that you may spend time and enjoy this moment with me. And I know Terry's watching and whatnot, and hopefully he don't get upset. I think he might have set me up. I don't know. But nevertheless, it is truly a pleasure. He is absent, but due to a cause. And it's truly important to understand that he will be back. And he will be here to continue to move forward as we get started. And so let's get started right now. Our agenda today is aligned. And that's what's important. And let me just read a little bit of this. Aligned with the universe, charting a journey beyond the limits of imitations, a realm within the cosmic expanse, where endless dreams are limitless. Contradict this, creating the illusion that they only turn in the opposite direction, neglecting their alignment with nature. We are designed to align with a higher power, God, who has set the course for our existence. I want to stop there and continue in the sense because this evening we have a special guest that you would truly enjoy. Matter of fact, I'm fascinated and I don't even know what to say right now. But nevertheless, not only is our guest this evening someone that you may have known, don't know, but I guarantee you, and I use my words, guarantee you will enjoy. And as we always say, it's not about the title or the position, but it's about how we treat and respect one another. In this case, our brother. It's going to be our brother, and I'll come back to you to identify and introduce our brother this evening as our guest, and we will have a collaborating conversation that you would definitely enjoy. So as we move forward, let's see, the quote of the day. And I know you're going to like this one. The quote of the day is rock steady. Rock Steady by Aretha Franklin. Now, all those, I know everybody heard about Aretha Franklin, rock steady, the grooving, the moving, whatnot. That's important. So again, we're going to get into it, and the conversation that we have as we move forward will definitely showcase that. We have a special guest here. His name is Ty Stevens. He's a singer, songwriter, dancer, choreographer, actor, and playwright. That's what's important, but you will hear more from him. Let me just get into, as we continue to move forward, let me give you a little bit about Ty Stevens. Ty, as I said, Ty's information, singer, songwriter, dancer, choreographer, actor, playwright. He co-wrote a play with singer Jerry Wade entitled On Kentucky Avenue. Ty has released at least 4 CDs that are really great and have sold very well. They are a mix of jazz, R&B, and religious music. Born and raised in Philadelphia, Ty was in the East. Ty was in the cast of Sophisticated Ladies with Phyllis Hyman, The Wiz with Diana Ross, and Michael Jackson. He performed with Harry Belafonte, Gregory Hines, Adam Wade, Shaka Khan, Roberta Flack, Leslie Gore. Open shows for Ashford and Simpson, the Shirelles, and other artists. Produced the show and was responsible for bringing singers, dancers, and musicians to Morocco for the New Year's Eve celebrations for the king and for the crown prince birthday party. And then many times after, which I was a part of, he also involved me and other singers to participate in recording. The Me and Others is another singer and artist that he knows personally. He'll come back and tell you who that is. So I don't want you to think it was me personally, because I just met the brother. And matter of fact, I'm nervous myself to continue. He also involved me and other singers to participate in recording a song during the Clinton administration entitled Women Making a Way for Change, with artists such as Odetta, Leslie Gore, Vicki Sue Robinson, Cissy Houston, Jennifer Lewis, Salt and Pepper, Tookie Smith, and countless other musicians and actresses. He has traveled to Monte Carlo on several occasions with his hand-sold jazz, where he opened for artists such as Prince, Janet Jackson, George Benson, and many others. He has toured many times in Russia. He has toured numerous times in Japan. With well-known Japanese pop artists named Toshi, and if I pronounce it wrong, he will clarify that. He is also a dancer instructor in the school in the West Orange, Montclair area, and performed with his band in all of the clubs and festivals around the country and abroad. At this time, I want to continue to allow that to sit in for a minute. So as we come back in a second, I'm going to introduce you to this brother who's well known, who has been around, and you know what? It really ties into our topic for today: aligning yourself with who you are, with life, your surrounding, with people, with us, as we align ourselves with you. That's what's important with nature, all the gifts that you have within inside of you. Align yourself for your freedom. Freedom is in you, and you cannot align yourself with others around you or the opportunity that presents itself unless you open up the doors of your inner self, your emotional mind state, and no matter how you look at it, and others around you. You never know who you're going to run into. And so the opportunity for me to have this opportunity to meet this brother is based on somebody I have known for a while. But you never know who knows somebody, and that's what's important. You don't know. So the whole thing with that, and as we said multiple times on this platform, the art of conversation. How you respect, how you treat yourself, how you treat others, and how you present yourself around others is what makes the difference. That's what's important, because you never know who knows who. Now, hopefully and prayerfully, it depends on how things go. I might end up on a cruise with this brother. Who knows? But nevertheless, it's truly a pleasure that I feel right now I'm on a cruise with this brother just by the mere fact of having him in our present. That's what's important. And I know my brother Terry Benjamin, I know he's a little jealous right now. So unfortunately, because due to personal situation he had to take care of, is the reason why he's not here. But nevertheless, I hopefully and prayerfully that for me being here, so that I'm doing such a good job that he's going to give me applause. So when he come back, he goes, so yes, my brother done the best that he could with what he has unexpectedly. Because Terry always have a tendency of putting me on the spot. It's always a last minute. And that's why we always say, always be ye ready. That's what's important. Let me get into this with Aretha Franklin. Rock steady. That's what's important. Rock steady. Rock steady, baby. And I can't sing, so I'm not going to try to sing, but let me just give you the lyrics of it. Because as Terry always said, music for lit. And that's what's important. Music for lit. Understanding the lyrics, understanding the message of it. And you can get into it. We can always rock to the music. Music sounds good. I don't care how bad that sounds, but music would change everything. But when the music no longer exists, do you understand the message of the artist who's presenting something to you? And it's the exact same thing when you do it to yourself. Rock steady, baby. That's what I feel now. Let's call this song exactly what it is. Just move your hips from side to side. Sit yourself down in your car and take a ride. And while you're moving, rock steady. Rock steady, baby. Let's call this song exactly what it is. What it is. What it is. What it is. It's a funky and low down feeling. What it is. Move your hips from left to right. What it is. What it is I might be doing this funky dance all night. Oh, what it is. Huh. Put your hands in the air. Oh, got a feeling you ain't got a care. Oh, wouldn't you want to take this burn that sail us all inside? Rock steady, baby. Rock steady, baby. Jump and move your hips with a feeling from side to side. Sit yourself down in your car and take a ride. While you're moving, rock steady. Let's call this song exactly what it is. It's a funky and low down feeling. What it is. Move your hips left to right. What it is. What it is. It might be doing this funky dance all night. Ah, what it is. Ah, put your hands up in the air. Ah, got a feeling you ain't got a care. Oh, wouldn't you want to take this burn that sail us all inside? Rock steady, steady, baby. Rock, rock, steady, baby, baby, what it is. Baby, baby, what it is. Baby, what it is. Now, can you feel it? Now, I just read it, but if you get into the groove and you listen to the song, and I know everybody out there will pick it up, turn it on, and now you find yourself just enjoying yourself. I want to give a shout out to here. I know Terry was watching. I am watching, so I got to be careful what I do. Looking forward to a great show. Absolutely. Roberta Gaberstark, thank you. On deck. I want to thank all those who are joining in now. Loving music is lit. You are singing soul music. Absolutely. No matter how we look at it. That's what it's all about. You see, we have to bring joy into our lives. It's not about a gloomy day or cloudy skies, no matter how you look at it. So even on the dreariest day and the dreariest moment, how you may feel, the fact is, we're going to bring something to you to make you feel even greater. So as we continue to move forward, again, we're going to continue with what's happening. You know, I have something else for you. You see, and that's what's important. I want to present this other music is lit. And I'm quite sure, hopefully and prayerfully, that you heard of this singer, okay, this artist, Phil Perry. How many heard of Phil Perry? You know, I love Phil Perry. I mean, you talk about a smooth artist, a smooth singer. Romantically, he brought it in such a way you cannot help yourself from sit back, listen. Even if you're cruising down the road, and those who are involved, those who are in a love affair, those who are married, in a relationship, just take a moment and embrace the sounds of the tone, the lyrics, and the music of the flow of it. How it just grabs you and bring you into his world to showcase you from the outside world into a more harmonious, pleasant environment. Here is by Phil Perry. One heart, one love. If you haven't heard it, I tell you got to pull it up and listen to it. If you heard of it, then you know where I'm going. I'm putting my heart in your hand. What a better way to show my faith in you. Giving you the lock and key. In other words, baby, I'm giving you all of me. Because I searched this world around and around for someone like you. And I thank my stars I finally found a woman like you. And this goes for the women to the brothers, to the chorus. One heart, one love now, baby. I am giving you my all to you, baby. Yeah, yeah. One heart, one love. For the rest of my days, I promise that I'll be true. You showed your trust in my heart. You opened up and gave your love to me, and I'll be yours for all times. 24/7, baby, day and night. I'll search this world from mountain high to river deep. And now that you are here, I'm yours for life. I am yours to keep. One love for the rest of my life. That's all I want, baby. That's all I need. Yes, one heart that beats for all times for you. These lyrics are so important. We listen to all kind of music, all kind of lyrics, whatnot, and it's easy to shake to and whatnot because of the rhythm. But what's important, think about this moment. Before there was physical music, before there was the technology to create music, look at our artists today who have went on, who have started out when they was young, harmonizing on the corner. You can open your window 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just heard the harmonious sounds of brothers and sisters out there just singing their life away, hoping and praying that the opportunity, somebody will grasp their souls and their emotion and bring it to light. Those who have heard and know about Barry Gordy, who have now, rendered in essence, but still own the rights to, I forgot just there quick. It'll come to me, and I apologize for that. But he has started with Smokey Robinson, The Temptation, Diana Ross, and many other countless artists who came through him. That's what's important out of Detroit. Understand what's been happening. Understand what's going on today. Look at the studios of those who are singing. If you take away the lyrics, if you take away the music instrument, and listen to the lyrics of those who are expressing. They are expressing many things from various areas and avenues, whether they're going through something, whether they're happy about something. And this doesn't take away every single artist today, no matter how you look at it. And before I forget, June is Black Music Month, representing and identifying all black artists. Today, from this moment as I speak to you, all the way since the beginning of time, is what's important. Let us showcase, recognize, and embrace all black artists. Even your neighbor who might be in the bathroom or in the kitchen harmonizing, embrace that voice because they're just looking to showcase, to feel good about themselves. And that's what's important. So if you reach out to them and say, hey, look, I heard your voice. You sound great. Because many started in church. A whole lot of them started in church, no matter how you look at it. But the bottom line is they had the opportunity to showcase their voice because they were not afraid at that time when they was young or middle-aged or whatever, but they continued to grow into who they are today. They had the opportunity, and what I always say, the door of opportunity, no matter how you look at it. So as we continue to move forward, I also, as you know, I always come to you with this book, okay? And that's what's important. What are the leading causes of life? A prescription for living your highest and best. You have something inside of you. You're no different. I'm no different than these artists on this wall right here and behind me, those poets. They came, they experienced something, they told their story, they sang the music, they sang the lyrics. But how many of them had the music behind them? If any instrument that may have existed at the time, and I don't want to say may, a lot of times they did. They had the piano, they had a saxophone, they had a guitar, they had a flute, they had some kind of instrument. And a lot of times they were just tapping on something, no matter how you look at it. But all that came because there was a rhythm inside of them that they wanted to expose, to entertain their audience. And all brothers and sisters all around, near and far, came out to listen to them. That's what's important. But see, that's what's, in other words, in a lot of ways, have faded or is fading out now. Why do we have to go to a concert to listen to somebody when we can have concerts right here in our own community? Let's listen to each other. Let's embrace one another. You know, that's what's important. Here we go. Terry Benjamin, loving music is lit. You are singing soul music. Richard Bentley, watching. Thank you. See, my brothers and sisters, that's what's important. Chime in, tune in, hit the like button. But hitting the like button is one thing. But as long as we know that your comments is saying that we are doing something to embrace you, to help us, so we can continue to collectively embrace a community. Because again, I'm a firm believer, and it's just me, that we shouldn't always have to go to a concert, but let's have a concert in your community, wherever you are dwelling from. It doesn't matter what town. We're in Union County, but there's a lot of locations in the parks, whatnot. You know, you don't always have to wait until somebody put a festival together. You can have 1 or 2 people get out there. Kids don't hesitate to enjoy themselves. They get out there, they boogie, woogie, they shaking, whatever the case may be. How come the adults won't act like that or allow that child inside of you becomes that harmonious gift that was given to you? And that's what's important. Again, what are the leading causes of life? And as we move forward, you're going to hear from our guest as he introduced to you his platform, his life, his journey, where he been, who he met with, who he talked to. Everything that he has done, he's still doing, because nothing has stopped him yet. And so the question is, what bus stop are you standing on waiting for the bus that already came by? The train never came, and you standing looking down the tracks. What tracks are you looking at, and what are you looking for? The fact is, if there's no bus, there's no train. But if you stand on a platform, the entertainment starts with you. Present yourself. Sing, because again, birds will come, butterflies will come, people will come. Because guess what? Your voice, your sound will resonate far and beyond your imagination. And you start to wonder, where did these people come from? But it's because of the gift that you have that's important to help somebody else, because you never know what somebody's going through. And even as you may be presenting and singing or spoken word, we don't know what you're going through, but the fact is we meet in a place of peace and harmony, and that's what it's all about. I have here, you know, Mind, Body, and Books. I'd like to also introduce this book too. This one is The Gospel of Good Success. The Gospel of Good Success by Kirby John H. Caldwell. It is a good book, and I'm not going to get into it, but I just want to give you just a synopsis, a roadmap to spiritual, emotional, and financial wholeness. This is a good book. It really is. I love it, but it's no different than what we hear today. We talk about health and wellness. We talk about generational wealth. When you think about generational wealth, it really starts with you and your neighbor. It starts with anybody, young, middle, old. It's about coming together and how you invest in yourself, in your community. It's not about investing in somebody else's stuff with little return. It's about you investing in yourself, and you will see the return. We invested in ourselves, our ancestors, and I say this all the time. You figure from the middle 70s on back, we were prospering, regardless of how wealthy we may have been. But we owned black restaurants, gas stations, stores, you name it, hair salons, you name it. We were doing everything. My mother was a hair salonist, no matter how you look at it. But the fact is, if you're going to talk about generational wealth, well, whose generation, what wealth are you investing in? Because it starts with you. You are that seed that has to be planted with other involved cultivating. And each one teach one. The oldest thing, each one teach one, no matter how you look at it. Okay, it's no different than when your Grandmother, your mother, grandmother, auntie told you, come on in this kitchen. Let me show you how to do this and do that. A little this and a little that. How to make bread and whatnot. And then the kids grow up doing the exact same thing. So where is the lost art? It is an art. And how many of them go to school for that? How many couldn't even go to school? How many dropped out of school? Or how many of them have the labor? But the fact is, they had something then. They developed something then that many today is crying about. And let me say this again, and I say this with all due respect. You see, you can pay yourself and go to school to get a degree, but how many of them out here with degrees, graduated with degrees, looking for what? You see, your future, the power, the wealth is in the palm of your hand. In the palm of your hands is your future, your wealth, and everything you need to know and understand. But you can't do it alone. It's easy when you have two hands, it's better than one. Two persons, three persons. Everyone has a gift and talent that we're supposed to be investing in. No matter how you look at it. If you're a songwriter, then how can we engage in helping you become a songwriter? Do we have a platform, a camera, a mic? No matter how you look at it. That's what's important. It doesn't matter. Trades is coming back. But see, it's coming back because it's intentional. But it was also intentional, the reason why it was taken out of the school system. And so because it was taken out of the school system, then it was easy not to teach black folks as well as anybody else how to pick up a hammer, a screwdriver, a tape measure, how to home economics. All that was in the schools. Sewing. I know how to sew. I have 2 sewing machines. How many brothers out there can sew right now? How many young brothers? Are you teaching the young what you have learned or don't know? And you're never too old to go back to learn something. It's not about being embarrassed and not about being too old. It's about where do we start now to rebuild the generational wealth within our community. That's what's important. Here's another one, as I introduced before, Lessons of Love. And as you know, I read with Phil Perry, he talks about love, one heart. That's what's important, you know. And that one heart and falling in love, the lessons of love, doesn't necessarily mean you have to have somebody, but it's all about how do you see it inside of yourself. You know, you always hear the words, you know, love yourself. You know, but that's important. You can't love anybody else if you don't love yourself, but you can't love yourself unless you know who you are. And you can't know who you are unless you take time to examine who you are. Mind, body, and everything else. Examine yourself. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. The same time and energy you use outside in a negative way, some, but use all that energy inside in a positive way. It's beyond getting dressed up, looking good in the mirror. It's beyond trying to get dressed and showcase out in the streets for somebody else. But in it, everyone on the outside, are they looking at you or they glancing? You see, you make a decision. But if you feel good about you and you do a self-examination, no matter whether you're inside or outside, you carry yourself like the world is all on your shoulder. The world is under your feet. You carry yourself with grace, with mercy, with peace and love. But I'll be honest with you. For me personally, there's nothing greater than seeing a sister, especially during the summer with the sundress and the way she flowed, the way she carries herself, is so eloquently. It showcased a model that we too much really don't see today. And that's what's important. Again, it's not about showing, it's about expressing. Who are you? But you express from the inside out. It's not from the outside. It's about from the inside out. And that's what's important. And that's where we always talk about the art of conversation. Hello, how you doing, sister? You look wonderful. Hey, brother, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, I appreciate it. That's what's important today. And so here, I'd like to continue to move forward and really open up the floor with our guests. Because again, time flies. And I don't want to suck up no time and not have the opportunity for you to hear from our special guest this evening. It is truly a pleasure for me to introduce to you our brother. I say our brother. Okay, the title and position is one thing. You can respect him for that. But he's our brother because he's part of the family, part of the community. Ty Stevens. Ty Stevens, Welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Tell
my
us about
pleasure.
yourself and tell us who you are. Bring the
Well,
excitement on.
you said all of it. I don't need to say anything else. No, just kidding. No, I have been around for a while. I started in dance in Philadelphia, and moved into musical theater, which moved me to New York. So I had relatives in New York I moved in with, so that was a nice, convenient thing, and stayed with them for a while, and moved out on my own and continued to train. You know, I went to the Alvin Ailey School for 2 years with a scholarship, and had to make a choice between the scholarship, and the reason why I moved to New York was I joined a dance company, and the dance company was touring the country with colleges. So it was either you stay with your scholarship or you tour the country. And it was like the scholarship required that you not perform, and I was like, I really want to perform. So I gave up my scholarship, and I toured the entire country with a company called Rod Rogers Dance Company. Excellent. It was the right choice. It was the absolute right choice. I don't regret it at all. And I got to see the entire United States that way. And that was the beginning of it. But I moved to New York really from a fine arts background. I was going to be a painter. Thought I was going to just like be a designer or a graphic designer or something like that. And I just found that I couldn't sit still. Like when I sat still too long, I would shut down. I would be like snoozing. So we had to keep me moving. So my parents were really aware of that, and they, put me in musical theater, and I had art classes as well. And then moving to New York, I had an arsenal of things I could do, and but my passion was dance at the time. So I wouldn't say quickly, but to make a very long story shorter, is that when I landed my first Broadway show, I had primarily been a dancer. I sang, sang in my family. We always had that little the step on the bottom step on the staircase was our stage, and my brothers and my sister and my cousins, we would all put on shows. So that was kind of the beginning of this show business career. So when I got on Broadway, Broadway requires in most instances that you're able to sing, dance, and act. So you got to be a triple threat, as they call it. And so that was a real good training ground for me. So I had to sing. I had to sing more so, not just for me, but for an audience, for the audience. And Phyllis Hyman, who was in the show, who was one of the stars of Sophisticated Ladies, along with Gregory Hines, we had the best time. I could talk all night just on that. Just on that show I could talk, and that was back in the early 80s. But Phyllis became my mentor. So she, not just mine, but the rest of the other cast members who wanted to sing. We all wanted to.
She was my future wife.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's future wife. She's still somebody's future wife, even though she's gone. But she gave us this. She gave us a lot of encouragement and a lot of instruction, to get up. At that time there were a lot of cabarets in New York, a lot of clubs where you could go and sing. It's like open mics all over the place. And so when we would get an opportunity, she would say, get up there and sing. If she had a gig that we could go to and she had an opportunity to get us up there, she got us up there and sang. So it was really wild that she was like that in our corner, and just I think she liked watching us grow like her little kids, I'm not that much younger than her, but still. Right. I was very green on Broadway, very green. I didn't know nothing. But I knew what I was doing. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was trying to do. So I made the transition in that show from just being a dancer who can sing to being a singer. And it was mostly, I'd say a good portion because of Phyllis. And so from there I started doing clubs in the area, putting a band together, writing my own material, finding material that I liked. Because I came out of the 70s, so, all that R&B from the 70s and fusion and funk, that was what I wanted. And I still want it. I still do that. And so, my influences were like, my heaviest influence was Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder, Al Jarreau, Jeffrey Osborne. Those were the real singers. I liked singers who really, and they're not just people who can kind of sing, but singers. Right. And those are the people that inspired me. So Shaka Khan and Minnie Riperton and so many others. I could name Aretha. How can you not? But those are the people I learned from. And it's funny, I'll tell this little short story. I studied with an opera coach for 3 lessons because I had never studied before. Mm-hmm. This was after I had already started singing. And I found, in those 3 lessons, because he was a working professional. So he had to go on tour somewhere. So we got 3 lessons out of him, and then I never saw him again. But in that short amount of time, he told me, he said, you learned well, because I listened to records and radio. Those were my teachers. And he said, you listened well. He said, your breathing's good, your tone is good, your expression is good. The only thing that he told me I needed to do was to sing forward, because when you're singing with a record, you're singing in the back of your head. So the sound is, you're trying to create a sound that blends with what you're listening to. So you're trying to match the record. So your sound is smaller. So you have to learn how to really use your body as an instrument to project that sound and make it a louder, stronger sound. So that was all I had to work on. And I worked on it. You know, I had to learn. It was a different, you know, you find that you're using your body differently, because your body is an instrument. And when you're using it correctly, you know, because you got to use your whole body to sing. You're not just standing there moving your mouth. You're not. You know, the people who do, there's some people who can do it. But if you see most singers, their whole body is put into it. You put a big note, the whole face lights up. Their body, what do you call it? I want to use the right word. Sort of positions itself to get that note out. They're not going to stand there like an opera singer with the hands clasped, you know, which that's something too. Never done that. But you see that it's a physical thing. It's a real, total physical experience to sing.
And so let me go back and apologize. The studio that I have got, which was Motown. So again, correction. I didn't lose my mind yet, but then I forgot. But nevertheless, I apologize. Let me ask this question.
Sure.
To go back a little bit, even as a child, when did you first think of, felt or feel or saw something inside of you that brought you to what?
That's a good question, because television. You know, television was a new thing back in when I was growing up. Especially when we had black and white TV, and at one point suddenly we had color. Whoa! You know, it's like a miracle. But yeah, it was television. You know, back then we had variety shows. We had Ed Sullivan, we had Hollywood Palace, we had Sonny and Cher, we had all those. You know, the Jacksons had one. Everybody had a variety show at that point. At some point. And I was just watching a clip the other day of Melba Moore and Clifton Davis, and you know, so everybody, and in each of those shows there were dance troupes. You know, so they had all this wild. Tom Jones was probably one of my favorites. Big productions. You know, when they danced in MacArthur Park, they created a park. And they had pigeons. So I was like, this is amazing. I want to do this. So that's what I thought I was going to do. Once I decided that dance was my vocation, I said, I want to be a dancer in one of those situations. Of course, by the time I was old enough, they didn't exist anymore. No more variety shows. So I wasn't going to do, you know. So next best thing, either a dance company or Broadway. And Broadway is the same elements of, like, you say there's going to be a park, there's going to be a park. You're not just singing about a park. They're going to create it for you. So, yeah, television was my thing. I watched movie musicals, you know, Fred Astaire and all those guys. And I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So that's what moved me to New York.
2 things. One, I would like for you to take the audience eye on a cruise of your experience when you went to Morocco and around the world. You traveled to different places, whatnot. What was that like, and the feeling, especially when you first had the opportunity of going and then meeting a king and a prince? I don't have no words. I cannot sit here and begin other than just, you know, say, wow. So tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it wasn't the first and it wasn't the last. It's an interesting thing. I've performed for many heads of state, as well as kings and queens and presidents. So it's been a great thing. Sometimes when I get like in that space, well, I'm not where I'd like to be and I haven't done this, I think again, I'm like, wait, look what you have done, you know? And it's a good reminder, because it picks me up, brings me out of those little pity parties, you know? So, because, you know, you want more out of your career, and you see something that you see something that you're shooting for that maybe you haven't quite gotten to yet. So I'm still working, I'm going to keep working. But, so, yeah, the trip to Morocco came out of another situation where a wonderful music director and composer and arranger by the name of Danny Holgate he had already been doing these particular gigs, and he called me to do one. So out of that grew another production company that I was a part of, and then we started doing those trips. And we started bringing over all sorts of people. I'll tell you one in particular that will surprise a lot of people is Jennifer Lopez. You know, Jennifer Lopez used to be a dancer on In Living Color. She was one of the Fly Girls. She was one of the dancers we took over as part of our group in the early days of this Morocco trip. And we must have done a good 10 years out of that. We did parties for the king himself, his son who became king, his other son who was the prince, his daughter. We did parties for all of them. So we would do New Year's parties, Christmas parties, birthday, not so much Christmas parties because they don't celebrate Christmas, but holiday parties. And they would bring these international people over. What it's like is a little scary because these are people who have they know they have power. And you have to walk within that space that doesn't step on any of that. You know, they were very generous. They were very kind for the most part. But I still felt scared. Like, don't step outside of this line. Right. But we were cared for. They would send security with us when we went shopping. You know, I mean, folk that was security. Right.
They don't blink an eye on
no. So you know, the merchants were they see foreigners and they come, you know, running over like locusts, and they're trying to get you to come to their little shop and buy and you know, and when they saw who we were with, they were like, okay, let me just chill for a minute, you know, and if they come to my shop, fine, but I'm not going to be running out there after them. So we had that kind of care and that kind of protection. But on the other side of it, getting to see the world, getting to see other cultures, getting to see other people. There was one instance in Morocco in the early days when I went, that we were invited by one of the wait staff to his home, and he's a Berber, and he lived out in the desert.
Wow. In
a very, very, I mean, you want to talk about modest? It's beyond modest. I don't even know what the word is. But it was one of the best times I ever had and one of the best meals I ever had in my life because it was cooked by his mother from her heart, from her soul. And she presented in her humble home, and we sat around, we ate with our hands. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
You know, in short, just along that latter part is when I went to Africa for the first time, Tanzania, exact same thing. And then when I sat among the Maasai tribe and others, there's no words to express what came from their heart, the generosity, the whatever. And you're right, had to get used to eating with your hands.
Yeah, man.
You know, because it shows hospitable, you know, hospitality. It shows respect and cleanliness. And one of the most important things I would truly say, because they are a firm believer in washing your hands.
Yes, indeed.
No matter how you look at it, before, during, and after.
Because you go eat with your hands, so
Absolutely.
you better wash your hands.
Yeah.
And you're sharing that food with other people who are using their hands. Right. It's not just from your own plate.
Right.
Lovely. Just one of the best things I've ever done.
Let me ask this other question. How can, you know, with all that you have and all that you are doing now, for those who are inspired by the thought of becoming a singer, choreographer, or acting or dancing, do you have anything now in place? How can people reach out to you if somebody's interested, young, middle, old, male or female?
Easy. You know, because I'm on all the social platforms, especially Facebook and my own site, and you know, Spotify and CD Baby and whatever else is out there. But pretty much, I'm on that platform at least as a retail. You know, but they can go to my site though, www.tystevensmusic.com.
Okay.
That's where you'll find me, or you can find me on either Facebook, my name Ty Stevens, and it's spelled with a P and an H. Okay. You know, I always tell people if you spell it with a V, you won't get me.
Right.
That's not my name. So, you know, but yeah, so that's how you can get in touch with me. I wanted to double back on something you said earlier because you were talking about our dear friend Janet Van Klein.
Yeah.
So that's whose information he was reading about her experience with us going to Morocco. A brilliant singer, one of my favorite people, and one of my favorite voices to work with. She's on every album I've recorded. Janet is on it.
You know, it's truly a blessing because I know Janet. I know the family for many years from way back, and I always follow her, especially local, whenever I could or whatnot. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, wonderful person, a spirit-hearted person, and that's what's important.
Absolutely.
You know, when you don't know who's who, and even though I knew the family, and I still know the family, I'm still close with the family, the humbleness, the warmth of her heart, as well as the other families. You know, believe me, there's no words. But this show, this platform right now is not about for me to get into the emotional state of who you know, who you met. It's all about what was just shared. Janet Van Klein, it's truly a pleasure. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything local going on now? Any festivals, any jazz, any places to go that might spark the interest of people?
Absolutely, absolutely. This very weekend on June 7th, Saturday, June 7th, I'll be with my band, Soul Jazz, up in Madison at Shanghai Jazz, Madison, New Jersey. And that's at 7 p.m. We're there periodically, like once every couple months, because that's kind of our home now in the area. So if you don't catch us this weekend, which I hope you will, you can catch us in the coming months, because we're there pretty regularly. Just check their calendar. You know,
Up in Madison?
Madison, yeah, Shanghai Jazz.
I remember years ago, I used to do construction. You know, going to Madison was like tiptoeing and whatnot, doing construction. So.
Yeah, it gets a little more chill now.
Yeah.
A little more chill. Yeah. And then also, I'm doing a peace concert on the 14th with some other artists and in Montclair. It's just an effort by a group of caring people to contribute to the positive side of our living, because things, you know, I mean, we don't have to even talk about what we're dealing with now politically, etc. And so we want to counter all that energy by just really focusing on peace.
Is that this one?
That's that one, yeah. All we are saying.
What's important, we talk about, I'm glad you mentioned it, because what's important, we talk about the exact same thing. Peace, love, and harmony. There's no reasons why, and I guarantee, I will say this word, use this word, there's no reason, guaranteed no one can tell me, honestly, to justify why you're mad all the time, who you're mad at, why you don't have no peace inside of you, where you're angry at.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, finding peace, because there's always a flower, a bee, a butterfly, birds, harmony all around you that will continue to bring you to that place. How can I have peace? You ask yourself, you wake up and you pray. Those who pray, doesn't matter if it's to God, whoever. He said, I am that I am. Whether you from the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah, or any other religious book, the bottom line is, are you spiritually connected with your harmonious surroundings of all those that God has given us? Finding peace within inside yourself. I was telling my daughter earlier, because I'm a firm believer. You know, everybody will come with you something negative, but do you have peace inside of you? Because if you have peace, you don't have to respond to engulf that flame that's burning up in somebody else. So absolutely, come out, enjoy. You know, where's this again?
It's in Montclair. It's going to be at a synagogue, believe it or not. But you know, there's all the faiths come together when we want to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
And we love that. So it's called B'nai Keshet.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
At a synagogue, too?
Yep.
I'll tell you, hey.
Beautiful space, too. Beautiful
You know, war
space.
is not all around. But you remember that song, was it by The Temptation? War? What is it good,
What is good for? Oh, yeah, that's Edwin Starr. Edwin Starr.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's important, you
Yeah.
know. Anything else going on?
Right now, those are the things. Those are the most immediate things. I also work with another group that will be at Shanghai Jazz at the end of the month. And we have been doing a show called the Stevie Wonder Project for the last couple of years. So it's all the music of Stevie Wonder. And it's we're not, you know, I always try to let people, I said, we're not trying to be or look like or sound like Stevie. We're doing his music. But we'll do it as close to what he does as possible, because that's what you want. That's what we want. That's what gave us the inspiration to even want to do this music, is because it inspired us in the first place. So I wouldn't want to change it, but so much, you know, I want to try and bring the feeling that he gave me to anybody else that hears it.
I'd just like to also recognize and identify our audience. Monica Sen, impressive. Matter of fact, quite a few. Let me see. Monica saying, those are always the best meals. Home cooked, absolutely.
Yep.
I'm waiting to get somebody to give me a home cooked meal. Monica saying impressive, man, which is also important. You know, she has a website, www.tystevensmusic.com. That's important. Monica also says, very interesting conversation. That's what it's all about. You know, Terry Benjamin, the art of conversation is only second to the art of listening. Hello,
What?
Absolutely. That's what's most important. And because you listen so well, you present Mr. Ty Stevens in an excellent light. Well, that's my professor, so I know I'm going to get a grade A, I had to do my homework. But it's a pleasure. Terry is truly a personal friend, a good friend. He's definitely somebody to touch bases with because he has his interest in a lot of different ways. He also writes. He's a poet. He's also, again, a professor, retired. He still has a connection with people. He still tries to engage with others all around. So, again, when we're together, we're as one. Even though we separated, we're still together. So although you may just hear my voice, I'm quite sure in your hearts and minds, you still hear and see his presence within inside of yours. I just want to show you, as Ty mentioned, this right here. And it's interesting that I was saying to Ty earlier, I haven't been up in Montclair in a while. I used to go up there all the time because back in the 90s and 80s and whatnot, they had a lot of jazz clubs and eateries and whatnot. And one of the places that he indicated earlier that's closed down was Trumpets. I used to go to Trumpets all the time. And as I indicated a while back, this, I believe, was back in the 90s, where Marcellus was there. And then thereafter, it seemed like the environment just wasn't accommodating to me. And so I understand it closed down. But what's important is that although, let's say, Trumpet as one of the locations closed down, and what about the Pittman Lounge and other locations, whatnot, the fact is there's no reason why we today do not have and should not have our own place to go and dwell where there's jazz, good eatery, good people, good conversation. No matter how you look at it, there's no reason why whatsoever. And time flies, and we have really 9 minutes left. Wow. So I don't want to suck up this 9 minutes, but it's important because I think the conversation is so overwhelming that we don't have enough time. But the time that we spent together and the conversation we just had, I hope that was enough for you to say, you know what, that was a good meal. We just got a home-cooked meal from the music of lit, from the conversation and the poetry, whatever the case may be. That's what's important. So give us anything, Ty. Tell us about the flow of what is life today. Talk to our audience and say, look, what's inspiring to them, what they can do, and what they should be doing.
Good way to go out. I spend a lot of time thinking, about life now that I'm of a certain age, and what's next? What can I do next? My main thrust now is service. I really believe in service, to be an asset to my community, to my family. And since my parents have all moved on, and my family, my siblings and I, we're the elders now. We've taken that spot because their whole generation is gone. So we had to really take that seriously. It's like, we're the next to go, technically speaking.
Right.
We're the next to go off the edge into the abyss. So what do we leave behind? What do we leave with that next generation so they can pass it on to the next generation? Right. Or do we just go on and say, well, that's on you? Right. And that's not how I was not raised that way.
Right.
And I'm not going out that way. So I think Janet made mention of the fact that I teach dance in public schools, which I absolutely love. I also teach dance on the weekends at a school in Montclair. And the program that I teach in the schools comes out of that dance school. It's called Sharon Miller Academy of Performing Arts. And it's one of the best things I've ever done. Just like I'm saying, thinking back and saying, that meal in Morocco was like the best thing. But I've had so many experiences that feel just that way.
Right.
They don't compete with each other.
Right.
It's just like, this was the best, that was the best. And so giving back in that way, because kids really need a role model. And I really take it very seriously that me as a male, for kids. Some kids don't have males in their homes, or they don't have male role models that are really giving them something positive to work with and to live with. And so I take that responsibility very seriously. So when I'm in the schools, because I'm usually there on a limited basis, it's an 8-week program, 8-week program usually. And so I connect with them because you can't not. First off, I'm dealing with K through 3. So these are the little ones that their minds are still open. they're still receptive. That's the word. You know, they're not, you know, when you get to fourth grade, they start to think, I got an ego now. I got an opinion. No, let me stick with the ones that don't have opinions yet, so they can just absorb, because that's what they do. They absorb. So I want to give them something to absorb that's positive. And so we have a great time. We have fun. First and foremost, you can't bore them, because then you're not getting to them. So we have a good time, and that giving back to them is something that I also have established with my family. You know, so I'm kind of spearheading a lot of stuff that's going on with my family in terms of getting together and sharing information and making sure that that next generation has something to pass on.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm a firm believer. And this month, as we know, June 15th is Father's Day. But let's not wait until Father's Day. Every day is Father's Day. I'm a father, and my brother here is a father, and all the fathers out there, every day is a father. As he mentioned, role model. Many may not have a biological father in the household. Many may not have a stepfather, somebody to watch over there. But one thing I will say is that every male in the community, excuse me, you become a father, you become a role model. It's not about disciplining a child, it's about educating a child. It's about teaching a child, male or female. Because again, men are the foundation of the earth. God has created you, and from you he has created, and from you comes the woman, who is a flower, who is a home, who's a caregiver. But the fact is, but it's collectively. But what's important is stability. Having a stable life, a disciplined life, a directional life, because you can't have that without the proper poles, the pillars, whatever term you want to use. Otherwise, you can't blame a child who grows up and goes astray. Now they go astray, they do this, and the first thing you crucify how what you should have did, what you should have known, but they can't do what they was never taught. Now you end up behind a closed walls, isolated from the whole world of freedom. And so the bottom line is, if you out here free, at least you think you're free, but you're not free, excuse me, because you really incarcerate your own mindset by keeping the outside source away from opportunity. It's about a relationship. It's about being harmoniously connected. That's what we need to do. And this program, this show, our guest this evening really presented in that fashion our conversation, how we can come together and continue to do and reach out, no matter how you look at it, whether you're young, middle, teenager, or a seasoned senior. Because again, as long as we are breathing, we have life. And as long as we have life, we are still growing. We are still prospering. Because in the present day, this present moment, we have a conversation. Our conversation from the seniors now tells the ones who's younger than us about the history. We pass that on to the ones in the present who teaches us what's happening or the changes in the present to move into the future. Because when tomorrow comes, you become somebody else's history. But the bottom line is, if you don't listen to a conversation today, you can't pass anything on tomorrow. And when tomorrow comes, what do you share that happened to you when you was a child? Because nobody don't know. It's a blank page. Remembrance and memory lives in the heart and minds and soul. Let's continue to do that. And once again, you know, time flies. And time waits for no one. The air that you breathe didn't slow down and wait till you grasp it. No, it continue to move. So every opportunity that you inhale, you exhale, something change. Continue to make a change in your life, in somebody else's life, or a child. And like it was just said, especially the males, sisters and brothers, for both, because there's a lot of brothers and men who raise their kids, and a lot of sisters who raise kids by themselves. But it's about a relationship to communicate, to have a harmonious opportunity to showcase the kids that we are the bridge for them to cross over into the future. So with that, as we always say, it is truly a pleasure. Matter of fact, I have one more minute. Oh, no, I don't. Time runs out for nobody. But again, want to thank you for chiming in, for your comments, and viewing this moment that we have. And I truly want to thank our guest, this brother, for the first time. We have a common connection of Janet Van Klein, and just to hear the story, the background, it was truly a pleasure. And again, don't forget to reach out and come to these places, on June 14th and the Shanghai Jazz in Montclair. Reach out, look it up. You'll find the brother. So with that, We want to say good evening and enjoy yourself and have a great time. Thank you.